Different, Not Weird, by Naomi O'Brien. Jack was excited that he was finally spending the night at Bosung's apartment. It was Jack's first sleepover. When Jack entered the apartment, Bosung's mom smiled and said, "Hello, Jack. Shoes off inside, please." Jack thought this was a little weird because he always left his shoes on when he was inside. Jack and Bosung went to his room to play. During one of their games, Jack started to jump on the bed. "One of our rules is no jumping on the bed," Bosung told him. "Oh, sorry," Jack said. At Jack's house, no one cared if he jumped on the bed. When it was time for dinner, Jack was surprised to see that Bosung's grandfather was there. "Is your granddad visiting?" Jack asked. "No," Bosung said. "He lives with us." "Wow, I wish I got to see my granddad all the time," Jack replied. Jack was unsure how to use the chopsticks that were on the table. Bosung's grandfather taught Jack how to use them to pick up his food. It was the same way that Bosung learned when he was younger. Jack had a little bit of trouble at first, but then he started to figure it out. "Is it time for ice cream?" Jack asked excitedly after dinner. "No, but my dad made rice cakes," Bosung exclaimed. Jack frowned. "No thanks." "Our families are so different," Jack said. "We don't do the same things at my house." "All families are a little different," Bosung replied, "especially if we come from different cultures." "Culture? What's that?" Jack asked. "It's all the things that are normal for you. Culture can come from your family, your neighborhood, or even the things you like to do," Bosung explained. "For example, in my family's culture, we take our shoes off inside." "What about at your house?" Bosung asked. "At my house, we don't take our shoes off, and we eat ice cream after dinner." Jack laughed. "Some things might seem weird," Bosung said, "but they're not weird. They're different." Jack thought about when he had to take his shoes off earlier. It really wasn't that weird. It was just different. When it was time for bed, Bosung asked Jack what he did at his house. Jack's family read books before bed. At Bosung's apartment, they sang songs. Jack grinned. "Let's do both."
Big Kids Can Cry by Naomi O'Brien. Drew and his sister Rachel had been skateboarding for hours with their friend Juan. Drew was trying to figure out how to do a trick Rachel was teaching him. "Rachel, can you show me how to drop in again?" Drew asked. Rachel balanced the back of her skateboard on the edge of the ramp, then dropped in and rolled down without falling. Drew kept falling when he tried. Drew stood with his skateboard balanced at the edge of the ramp and leaned forward to drop in. He immediately fell off his skateboard and banged his knee on the ground. "Drew, are you okay?" Rachel and Juan asked at the same time. Drew felt embarrassed, and his knee really hurt. He could feel tears in his eyes. Drew turned and quickly wiped away the tears before anyone could see them. "I'm fine," he said to them, even though he wasn't. Drew remembered what his parents always told him. "Big kids don't cry," he whispered to himself. Drew got back on the ramp again. He fell and banged his knee even harder. He felt upset that he kept falling. This time, he couldn't hold back the tears. Rachel and Juan ran to his side and helped him up. "Don't cry," Rachel encouraged him. "You'll be okay." "I'm trying not to," Drew mumbled through his tears, "but I'm so frustrated." "It's okay to cry if you're upset or hurt." "I do," Juan said. Drew thought about what Juan had told him. "But I don't want anyone to think I'm being a baby," Drew said quietly. "You're not being a baby. Lots of people cry," Juan replied. I cried on the first day of school because I felt scared. I actually still cried too, Rachel admitted. I cried when I didn't make the volleyball team because I was so disappointed. Really? Drew asked, wiping away his tears. Really, Rachel smiled. I'm sorry I told you not to cry. Drew felt some of his frustration go away, and his knee hurt a little less. Big kids can cry, he said to himself. He walked back over to the ramp and got ready to try again.